This is the Real Love Talk podcast, where we show you how God's love and self-love can help you get to your desired destination. If a God-designed marriage is your goal, then you're in the right place. Here's your host, Shenique Luke.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Real Love Talk podcast. I am your host, Shenique Luke, and welcome. How have you been? How's your week? How are those goals coming along for the new year? What are you thinking? Like, what's going on? Well, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're in good spirits and ready for another amazing episode. So today we are chatting with a special guest, right? So you're gonna get all the tea about being a wife, being a mom, being an influencer. So this is Dee, but I'm gonna allow her to introduce herself. So tell the people who you are.
Hey, my name is Dee. I am a mom of 5. We have 4 boys, 1 girl. I am married. I've been with my husband 20 years, almost 20 years. We've been married almost 16 years. I am an influencer, and I am an ordained licensed minister. I love the youth. I don't know enough about me. Next.
Okay, so we're gonna dig into that minister life, but welcome.
Thank
It's
you.
a
Thank
pleasure
you
to
for
have
having
you
me.
on the Real Love Talk podcast. So let's dig in. So, as always, we getting into the good stuff. She's playing coy right now, like, hi, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. Don't worry, I'll do the dirty work, so no worries. So you said you've been married 20?
No, we've been together almost 20 years, married 16 years this
16
year.
years. I mean, it's given 21. Like, how is she even dating for 20 years? Okay.
Yeah.
But so tell us, I'm going to take you, do you remember 20 years
Girl,
ago?
yeah, I can't forget that. Girl.
So tell us how you met.
He lied. But seriously, he kind of did though. But so we was in college, and let me start by saying I only dated older people, right? So, because we already 5 years ahead of them. So I ain't trying to date nobody that's the same age as me. So I thought I was big and bad. I want to be dating somebody older than me, right? So, I was walking in front of the calf, and he stopped me, asked me where some building was at. Come to find out, he already knew where the building was at. So then he saw me again inside of the calf, and then he said, "Hey, I'm cooking tonight, at this certain building," and as soon as he said the building's name, my ears was like, "Oop doop." Because that building is specifically for upperclassmen.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, he upperclassman? He look good. Like, okay, like, let's go. So then so I was like, okay, cool. I might swing by later that night, come, and I go to that building to try and find him, right? Nowhere to be found. So I'm like, okay, did he stand me up? Like, what happened? So I had my girlfriend with me, and I was like, you know what? I don't know where he's at, what happened, this, that, and the third. And come to find out, someone said, well, last time I see him, he was over at this other building. And this other building that they named is a freshman dorm, right? So I was like, he was at that dorm. I was like, but I went to the dorm, and I don't even think I found him though that night. So then when I seen him the next day.
So did he stand you up?
Yeah, on low key he kind of did. He kind of did.
Okay,
he
wait.
did.
So
that's why I said he lied.
He said he was cooking?
Right. He said he was cooking. And to be honest, to this day, 20 years later, I still don't even know if he cooked that night.
Okay. Was like cooking in his dorm room, and he wanted you to come over, like,
correct.
in the kitchen? Okay.
Correct.
I'm like, was he chefing? What was going on?
Correct. Because the upperclassmen dorm, they have like a little mini kitchen.
Okay, I got you. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said when he said that building's name, I was like, oh, yeah, like, because they got, it's like an apartment. You know what I mean?
Okay, I got you.
So I didn't see him that night at all. So after that, like, Yeah,
Where,
it
where
was.
your guard was up and
Yeah, my guard was always up. Anyway, I'm a New York girl. You know, New Yorkers, it's very hard for us to trust. But for him, that definitely took it up to a whole nother level.
okay.
Like, so yeah. And then after that, he was trying real hard,
So how did he get back into your good graces?
I would have to say let me tell you, he was very consistent. He was very determined. It was like he had it in his mind. Like, you know how you see no, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. But, you know, and he asked me out several times after that. But I was like, and even my girlfriends was like, oh, y'all gonna start dating. I was like, no, we're not. Like, we were just friends. So then we started being friends, hanging out, playing spades, shooting pool, you know, hanging out or whatever. And I was just like, no, we're just friends. But he was really just, the things he was saying, he was just really just sweeping me off my feet. Like, he a Southern boy. So, you know, mama's boy. He was doing his thing. So then I was like, all right, well, we can start by talking. Like, okay, let's take this a little slow. So then we started talking, you know, then it was, and then on top of it, I didn't even tell you, I thought he was a thug. You know what I'm saying? Because he was like, this is the way he was dressed.
But he was in college.
Yeah,
do thugs go to college?
Listen, I thought, and not really like a thug, but like just the way that he dressed. He had the do-rag, he had the baggy pants, like, you know, his slang, like his, like, you know what I'm saying? He was just giving like I was just like, yes, you a bad boy. Like, you know what I mean? But then, so then we started dating all throughout that. But then after our freshman year, we ended up moving into our own place.
Okay.
And all that changed. Like, he was not my bad boy anymore. So it was, yeah. That's a whole nother story.
You miss the bad boy?
Well, now, listen.
Not now, right? But back then, maybe.
No, but I'm about to tell you, because I told him, you know, that whole thing of how I thought, you know, his bad boy, this, that, and the third. So he bring out the bad boy every now and then. You know what I mean? He bring it out every now and then for me. So we good.
Okay.
We good.
Okay. So when did it get to a place where you were moving into a more serious relationship, like more long term? Because you guys are transitioning from college and...
Listen, it was a lot of ups and downs. So I don't even know. It was
at
years.
What point?
Yeah, because and everything was happening so fast. You know, and you know, we were in college. We're freshmen in college. A year later, we have our own place. Then after that, a year after that, we're living in New York, like, and then a year after that, we're back in North Carolina. Okay. And then, so we're bouncing all over the place. And besides, I would have to, let me tell you, that's a hard question, because I'll probably say it took about, after we had our first child, and we didn't have him until, we were together at least 3-4 years. Okay. So that's how long it took for me to be like, okay. maybe this gonna be long.
A whole child. Okay, all right. No, yeah. I asked that because it's different for everyone.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get into it. You're saying it was a little hard for me to trust, but now you have a child with him. Like, at what point did it transition to, okay, I'm in a safe space, let's move forward?
Not when I had the first child.
No,
ma'am. Because let me tell you, even when I had the first child, when we had our first child, we were not married. So, you know, we weren't married. We were living together. But when we had him, and that's when that was probably the second time that he asked me to marry him.
Okay.
And
second time?
Yes.
Okay. So you turned him down
twice.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, because the audience is like, just ask me once. Okay. Turning it down is not an option.
Look, you got to be sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking? Okay, well, hold on now. Let me find out you're the guy. You turned down 2 proposals. You have a child, and you're still feeling like
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I grew up watching every marriage in my family fail.
Okay.
Every marriage, whether they had kids, whether they didn't have kids, whether they were married for 15 years or whether they were married for 5 years, whether they were in the church, whether they weren't in the church. It didn't matter what the background was. I grew up watching marriages fail.
Okay.
So I did not have a very good role model to look up to as far as in my family.
Okay.
In that aspect. So my thing to him was, look, this is one and done. So it's not, no, we gonna get married because we in love. We gonna get married because I'm pregnant. We gonna get married. No, I need you to be in it and know that I'm all that you're gonna want to wake up to every single day.
Okay.
Like, because some people, you know, you have to understand that that's every day for the rest of your life. The same person sleeping next to you, waking up, going through the routine. It's the same thing every day. You know what I mean? So so I was very adamant about the fact that, you know, it's not a play for me.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was the first to go to college in my family. You know what I'm saying? I wanted, and, you know, there was generational curses that I was trying to break, that I wasn't trying to continue, especially because I wanted to break it for our kids. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I was one and done. Like, so I wanted him to be sure, and then I wanted to be sure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I knew I was in love with him. Yeah, I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with him, but we needed to be on the exact same page. Like, when we do this, everybody else, it don't matter what they say, what they do. We have to understand that it's you and I and this family for the rest of our lives. So, you know what I mean? So, the first 2 times, I knew that he was sincere. I kind of felt that he was sincere, but at the same time, I wanted to be sure.
So you thought that maybe he just felt like because you had a
Right,
child,
absolutely,
that was what he had to do.
Exactly.
So how many more times was it?
So he asked 3 times.
Okay,
yeah. So he asked 3 times,
now
and the third time,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're sure?
Yes, and I'm sure.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, we can do this. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay.
So yeah.
So what do you think the biggest component of like your experience, everything that got y'all to being together 16 years in marriage?
Listen, I'm not. I can't say that. You know how some people be like, it takes communication.
Okay.
It takes this.
Because that's where I was going.
Yeah,
okay.
It does. You know, I hear that a lot.
Okay.
But the thing that I always say is it takes a key ring of janitor keys. You know what I mean? And that's because, like, if you take a janitor's key ring, right? If you take a janitor's key ring and it's a big metal circle key ring, and has all these keys on it, right? And every key opens up a different door, right? So you can't say it just takes communication,
right?
Because what about the listening aspects? What about the understanding? What about the patience? What about, you know, there's so many different aspects that build this foundation. And once you have all of the keys and you can open up each door, because like I said, I can't open up the key to trust. I can't open the door to trust with the communication key.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That takes action. That takes a different level. I can't open up, vice versa. I can't open up the door to communication. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but then once you have the keys to open up all of these doors, then you can freely flow how you know what I mean? Because for me, it was very hard for me. It's easy for me to talk to you. I can communicate very well, but it's hard for me to trust.
Okay.
So you have to, unfortunately, men, you have to work a little hard to kind of, you know, break down those walls so that way I can grow to trust you, and then that leads to patience. That leads to this. That leads to that. You know what I mean? So I would have to really say that it's a compilation of different things, and then throw laughter in there, all of that, because
you're reading my mind.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about
he makes me laugh every day. Every day. And I can be mad. Like,
Yeah.
I can be mad. Like, I'm not trying to laugh at you right now. Like, it's not funny. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? But he will break through that. You know, we've been together for so long. He knows how to break
That's
through
good,
that.
though.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's good.
Okay, so you mentioned trust. So here at the Real Love Talk podcast, we cater to women who desire marriage, who desire a committed relationship, and ultimately like a love that was designed, like mastered and created by God, right? So, but if I'm struggling with trusting someone because I've been hurt or because of my environment, you know, you mentioned you were from New York, and that's just kind of that's how I was raised.
Right.
So, how do you speak to someone who's struggling with just being vulnerable and allowing, like, you got this guy, he's trying to, you know, you say he was consistent from the beginning. So, how does someone who's struggling with trust, how do they open up and become more vulnerable?
It's hard. It is. It's hard. When you, it takes, first off, let's back up, because if he's not willing to fight for it, if he's not willing to be consistent, if he's not willing to show you why you can trust him, then I'm not going to be vulnerable to you. You know what I mean? I can't be vulnerable to someone who says that I love you and I want to spend time with you, but yet every chance you get, you going out with the boys. I can't be vulnerable to somebody who says that, you know what I mean, they want to spend the rest of their life with me, but at the same time, you haven't put away your childish things. Like, it takes him to do that. But if it's just me at the same time, then I have to be willing to, first you have to trust God. You have to know that God is gonna, like, he got you.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So you have to know that he is going to, wherever you may be, your man may, because I was in New York. He was in North Carolina. You know what I mean? So I didn't know that God was creating this whole man all the way in North Carolina just for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
good.
So you have to be patient, and you have to know and trust God, knowing that, God, I know that you got me. I know that somewhere, he could be across the country, but I know that you created somebody just for me, who's gonna take the time. Let me say, there are so many walls that I had, including trust, that my husband had to break down one by one. Like, it wasn't, and it didn't take. We've been together almost 20 years. It didn't take. There's some walls that he may have just broke down this year.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it takes, you know, the consistency from him. And then it takes me being willing. You know what I mean? Like, if I say that I want to be married, if I say I want to be happy, if I say I want these things, then you have to take that step of faith. You have to take that first step. Like, I want to be married, but I ain't doing nothing. Like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
I ain't gonna
do
work on
you
me.
want
Right?
to be
Right?
married?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't
It's not giving. I want to be married.
It's not. So he could be like, all right, you got it. I'm gonna holler at you.
Don't
You know what I
worry
mean?
about it.
Yeah. So you just have to just trust and know that God got you. And don't be going out there searching, because some women will come to me and say the same thing, and I'm looking, I'm going here. Why are you looking? The Bible said, a man that findeth, not a woman that findeth.
You know what?
Like, so what you looking for?
I was just having this conversation with someone, and she said, I'm not looking. Like, and she asked me, she said, when was a moment that you found you met your husband? And I'm like, the moment that I became content in where I was. And so it's interesting that you're mentioning this, because it allowed me to, like, maybe that's the problem. We're looking, and we're not the ones that are supposed to be looking. And when you said, like, I'm in New York, and who knew God was, creating,
Only he know.
molding, developing this man in a whole nother state. And a lot of times the assumption is we don't see him. We're not finding him in this space. He doesn't exist.
And we're looking in the wrong places, and we're looking for the wrong thing. Because I only dated light skin, nothing against, but I only dated light skin men. my husband was the first and last dark-skinned man that I dated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm out here and I call myself looking for a husband, but I'm looking for a tall, for example, I'm looking for a tall, light-skinned,
yeah,
basketball player or whatever.
It's funny because I had written off light-skinned guys, and my husband is definitely light-skinned, and he's younger.
Exactly.
And I said I was done. I always tell the story. I'm sure I've told it before. And I'm like, I am done with younger men. I'm never dating another light-skinned guy in my life. And God was like,
God just sat up there like, okay.
Right, exactly. We'll see about that.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Exactly.
I love that because it's always just that different perspective of what we assume it's supposed to look like.
We have this idea and we have a plan. This is what it's supposed to look like. This is what I want it to look like. But we have to remember that our plans are not God's plans. What we think may be good for our lives, God's like, that's not what you need. God knew the type of man every man that I dated prior to him, there was arguments. There was, it was friction. We were unequally yoked. You know what I mean? But then I find my husband, he's the calmest.
Yeah.
I be getting mad. I'm mad, so you be mad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going off, you go off. Yeah, but he's calm.
Yeah.
He's calm and he keeps me, he brings me back. We're definitely opposite.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go back just a little bit more and then we'll get into a little advice for the women who desire a family.
Okay.
And we'll dip into the 5 kids and the balance too. But okay, how is because I've had these conversations with women who found their husband or got with their husband in college. How is your relationship with Christ then compared to now, or was it like a development type thing with your relationship with Christ?
My relationship with Christ was, I was Humpty Dumpty sitting on the fence.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And I think that's fair during that time of life. Like, I think when I see a young woman who has established a relationship with Christ during college, I'm like, God bless you, child.
Hat off to you.
Because
to you,
that was not the case for me.
It was not.
So
for
I'm
me
always
either.
interested in like what got you to where you are today with your relationship.
All of the times when they say that God is faithful, He is faithful. Yeah. When it says that He made a promise. And that's one of the things that we even say within our family of 7, where we're like, if we make a promise, we don't break that promise. So if you tell your friend XYZ, you need to stick to what you promised and said that you were going to do. If I promise you I'm going to take you here, then that's what I'm going to do. And we learned that from our Father, from God. So because every promise that He's made, every promise that He said that He's going to allow to happen in your life, it's going to happen. Yeah. And so during that time with college, I just wanted to hang out. Yeah. I wanted to party. I wanted to hang out. I wasn't, I went to church. I grew up in the church. You know what I mean? But you know how you grow up in the church, but then like, okay, I want to do my own thing now. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay, guys, hold on. I'll be right back.
Put a pin in it. But yeah, so that was me. But then when we got on our own, when we had our first child, when my husband was going through some things personally for himself, that I was going through some things, when we weren't feeling like we was me and eye to eye, God, we didn't even realize, but God was there the whole time. Yeah. You know what I mean? We didn't realize till after the fact. So the more that there were times where I remember we had, because in New York, you got basements and stuff. So we had a basement apartment. And I remember sitting in the basement and I'm holding our son. And he's a baby. I'm holding our son. He wasn't even 6 months old. And I'm crying because me and him just got into an argument. He packed his bags and he walked out the door.
Hi, ladies. Shenique Luke here, your love preparation coach. So you asked, and now I'm answering. The Love Prep Academy is opening its doors for enrollment for our signature program. Are you ready for your happily ever after? Are you ready to have the life that you've been praying for? Are you sick and tired of wondering, when is it going to be my turn? Well, this program is for you. I'm here to send a call of action to my ladies who are tired of doing it their way and are truly ready to give it to God. So I'm challenging 25 women to become a part of our founding members program. This program consists of weekly coaching from yours truly, a dating assessment, a private Facebook community, and weekly challenges and homework to help you shift how you see dating and marriage to finally get the results you want. Now, the best thing about being a founding member, not only do you get to be a part of a life-changing program, but you get all access to all things Love Prep Academy from now until forever. That's right, we're locked in for life. So click the link below to find out more. I will see you on the other side.
So I'm like, this is about to be,
It's over.
this is about to be the whole, my family generation all over again. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there and I'm holding our son and I'm crying. And when you get to a low point, when you get to a point where you feel like nobody can hear you or nobody understands, you don't understand what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the enemy will get in your head and say, you're
Absolutely.
alone. It's just you. It's just you, and you are the only person that's going through that. You're the only person that is that's feeling that way. You know, the enemy will play with your mind like that. So, and that's where I was at. I was at a very low point, and I had no choice but to say, listen, God, all right.
Yeah.
Like God, I need you
Yeah.
to take over. Then I went to church. I remember going to church, and the preacher pointed me out of the whole crowd, right? And spoke directly. I never met him a day in my life.
Wow.
Spoke directly to me what I was crying to God about. So I went home that night, and my husband had came back. I went home that night, and I remember we got in our car, and we were sitting there and we were talking, and I was like, listen, I'm about to take this journey of Christ, and I'm about to walk with God, and I'm about to, serve him head on. Like, I'm not saying that you have to do that. I said, but this is what I'm about to do. I have to do this. And if you don't want to do that, then you can go about your business and you can do what you want to do. I'm not going to be the type to keep you from your child. But you go do you, and I'm going to be doing me. But if you want to be a part of this life with me, I'm ready to serve God. I'm ready to do this. So we can either do this together or separately. And even then for him, he's like, no, I'm in. Like, I'm in.
Yeah.
So it was that point where I was really low, and I felt like I was by myself.
Yeah.
And really wasn't. Like, you know what I mean? I had family there, but you still think that you're by yourself.
Yeah. I always say, like, when you're going through low points, you're like, God, why is this happening? And I always say, you'd be surprised the things that God will allow you to go through in order to just get you to surrender to him and like depend on him.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, why am I here, Father? Like, this is so horrible. Why is this happening? And God is like, this is the best place that you could be in.
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
What do you want me to do?
Right.
Like you say, we have our own plans and all these things. And I always wonder, like you say, like you have all these plans, you try to control, like, okay, God, this is what it's supposed to be.
Especially for me, I'm a control freak.
Yeah. And then like, you never know what he is going through.
Right.
I had a conversation where like, you think because this is good. You think the worst thing is happening when you're losing control, but it's actually the best thing that happens because it allows God to
use you
and take control.
Yeah,
like we want God in control.
Absolutely.
But what is he doing with him, the husband, the man? Like she said, somewhere in North Carolina, God was
Right.
doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or what happened when he left?
Right.
What did God say to him
Right.
when he was
Exactly.
out of the house or
Exactly.
when he, whatever, in the
Exactly.
car?
Exactly.
So losing control is the best thing that can happen. So it sounds like you need to let go.
You need
let go,
to
lose
let go.
control.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And if you're anything like me, if I don't have control, I'm like, I got like
I
ADHD.
feel
I'm
like, yeah, I feel like,
what?
what kind of decision
Absolutely.
maker are you?
Absolutely.
You need to tighten up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just
Absolutely.
beating up myself. But
Absolutely.
it is, I can say in the times in my life where I felt that the best things have come out of it because it really allowed me to lean on God, rely on Him, and truly just depend on Him in that situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so let's fast forward to today. Um, I'm someone who is desiring marriage. I'm desiring a family, but it's not happening. Can you speak to the woman who feels like it's too late for? So I have a two-part question.
Okay.
Because we're gonna get to advice, but also like the desiring children. Like I feel like sometimes that part is it presses us. It gives us so much stress. And usually that drives the desire to be married because we want children, want to be a mom more than anything.
Right.
How do you speak to that?
So when I have a good friend that she has all girls, right? And every time she got pregnant, she said, "Oh, I want a boy. I want to give my husband a boy. I want to give my husband a boy, right?" And I will always say to her, "Okay, just put it in God's hands. Just put it in God's hands. Just say, Lord, whatever you bless me with, as long as my baby is healthy, 10 fingers, 10 toes, I'm happy. It doesn't matter the gender." Like, because my husband, for all 5 of our kids, we never found out the gender. Our prayer was always, Lord, as long as our baby is, just make sure our baby is healthy, 10 fingers, 10 toes. Like, we just, Lord, please, it don't matter the gender. You know what I mean? But she was adamant. She was like, no, I got to find out the gender. And no, I want a boy. I'm telling the Lord I want a boy. And I'm like, yeah, you definitely have to tell the Lord what you want. But at the same time, you have to, once you tell him, you have to let it go now. You can't say, this is what I'm telling you, and then I'm just holding on. Like, you gotta, okay, I'm putting it in your hands and I let it go, right? She ended up with all girls. And I say that to say that when you put it in God's hands and you say, Lord, whatever your will for my life is, Lord, however you want to use me, whatever you want to do, whatever type of man you want to send me, however many kids you want to give me, whatever gender you want to give me, it doesn't matter. When you really can get to a place where it doesn't matter, Lord, then that's when he blesses you with what you want. He can't, you know what I mean? So like, don't hold on to your idea of a family and don't hold on to, and don't, because everybody says, you have to get married, then you have to have kids, then you have to do this, then you have to do that. No, it doesn't have to happen that way. Everybody's journey, everybody's path is different. God has a path designed for each individual person. My path is not going to look like your path, and your path is not going to look like mine. And not only is it not going to look the same, who's to say that I can endure the heartache and the pain to even go down the path that you went through? You know what I mean? Like, and who to say that you can go down and endure what I did? That's why he lays out the path for each person, specifically designed for each person. So when you're desiring kids, it's okay to desire and want what it is that you want, but just give it to God. Just say, hey, I'm here for whatever it is that you got for me. Don't push for it. Don't say that that's what I have to do or that's what I want to do. Like, just Just let God do what he do. Because trust me, his plan is going to always turn out better than yours.
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
Like,
I was
always.
going to say, like, I don't know who said this, but it says, God knows, like when you're walking down the street, like you only see what you can see, but God knows what's coming down the hill, up the hill, around the corner.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he knows you best. Like he created you in your mother's womb.
Right.
He knows the quirks, he knows the faults, the strength, no matter how perfect and how put together you try to show up at church. God knows.
Stop it. Just stop.
Like God knows who you are,
absolutely.
You know.
And he knows what you need. Because I was even when it comes to I was desiring for that bad boy, for that light skin, for that. Who's to say if I would have followed what I wanted, I would still be married, happily married. Who could say that they're still happily married at this stage? You know what I mean? It makes a difference. Yeah. Absolutely. So just let God take control.
Okay. So I'm gonna circle back.
Okay.
And when it's time to wrap up, I have a specific question that I want to ask for our audience. But you say you have 5 children.
Yes.
20 years in the game.
Yes.
16 years married. How do you balance that? Like I'm still trying to figure it out daily.
I'm trying to figure it out moment by moment. Okay? Moment by moment.
Because someone may look at you and say, okay, she got it.
They do. They be like, oh, she look good. She got 5 kids. Well, where your stomach at? Is there? Like, you know what I mean? So listen, balancing the 5, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. But I have a great partner. I have a great partner. When I tell you he's a great partner, like it's because you can't do it by yourself. You can, you know what I mean? Like if you have to, you can, shout out to the single mothers, single fathers, you're doing your thing. Right. But at the end there's times where I can be doing something and I'll say, man, I'm so glad there's a man in the house. Like, you know what I mean? There's conversations that I have with our oldest is we have 2 teens. One is a boy, one is a girl. And the conversations that I have with our oldest, who's about to be 16, I'm like, man, I'm so glad your dad is in your life and he's in the house. And, you know, because I can give you advice and I can, take you but so far, but it's nothing like a man adding to that, and vice versa. He can give advice to our daughter, but there's nothing like a mother's advice. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So we each have our roles, and we each, and it's not, oh, I'm the wife, so I got to cook. Oh, so I mean, in our house it is because my husband. We just gonna leave that.
Yes, but Mario's the cooker in our house. So.
So is it? But the world that everybody makes it seem like
it's so cookie cutter,
and it's not.
It's such a lie,
it's
though,
not, and that's what it bothers me. Because every household is different.
Absolutely,
it's whatever works for you. Some people say, well, the man is supposed to bring in the money, or the man is supposed to be the one to handle the finances. This, that, and the third. No, my man brings in money, but then I handle the finances. I pay the bills. Like, you know what I mean? I, he give me the money, and then but
you may manage it better.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like I feel like
right. But then in some other marriages, the man might manage it better. So I don't think that so when I say roles, it's not the worldly role that what the world says. This is what you're supposed to do as a wife. This is what you're supposed to do as a husband, and that's it. No cross between. Yeah. No, when I say roles, it's whatever works for you in your 4 walls. Like it's whatever works.
And I feel like personally, when we try to follow the rules of what it should look like, I feel like it just complicated things so much more.
And it caused friction.
And nobody tells you that.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And that's why we're having these conversations. So when you get into marriage and it doesn't look like, and honestly, we still experience judgment from outsiders, family, and usually
absolutely
with like no shade, right? It is the people that you love and respect. You respect their opinion.
It's gonna be more them than anybody else.
Yeah, but it's like you have to become so aware as a couple, like of your identity. I always say like establishing an identity as a couple is
absolutely,
a thing.
absolutely,
Like, no one
absolutely,
prepares you
girl.
for
Yes.
that okay, this can be the way of our family, of our relationship, and it's okay.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And then if anyone has anything to say about that outside of it, you have to be strong enough in your relationship and in your marriage and in your home and say, thank you for that advice. God bless you.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
no, thank you.
No, thank you. Now, love, bae, whatever you call your spouse, like, you know, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
What looks best for us? You know what I mean? Don't get caught up in what everybody else is saying, trying to keep up with the Joneses. Like, don't do that because it's not going to work.
Okay, so how do y'all keep the romance in the? I'm taking notes on this one.
So
like not getting so caught up in the taking care of the 5 children and all the things that comes with each child. How do you keep the spark and the romance
you
going?
You got to get it in where you fit in. Listen, like the spark comes when they say still romance, still date, and dating doesn't mean you have to go outside of your 4 walls to go, oh, he took me to dinner and a movie.
Yeah.
No, like my husband knows that's not what I like going to dinner and a movie, you know what I'm saying? But that's cookie cutter for me. I don't want to do that. I'd rather stay home and we lock ourselves in our room and then, you know, next. But you know, you definitely have to, he doesn't stop trying to impress me.
That's
and
good.
Then I don't stop trying to please him. You know what I mean? So I'm always looking for a new way to please him. And when I say please him, it's in all aspects.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and then he's always looking for another way to satisfy and to, you know, we have to, with each other in mind, you know, I'm thinking about it. So, and I'm intentional, you know what I mean? There's been times I plan out, look, I'll say, okay, y'all watch your siblings and I'll go to the car and go to the van and I transform our whole back.
Okay, I've seen that on like social media where people are like making like beds out of the, what is it? The what is not the cab? The back of the truck.
The back of the truck. Yep. So you just have to think outside of the box and you have to be creative and don't think, oh, I'm just a mom. It has to
look a certain way. Yeah.
And then it's hard, and I'm speaking even to myself sometimes because listen, being a mom and working and doing this and doing that and being pulled in so many directions, you do physically get tired.
Yeah.
You know, you get physically tired, mentally tired, emotionally tired, spiritually tired. You get tired, right? But you have to remember that you can't keep getting tired, or you can't keep saying, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. Because eventually he's going to stop. And eventually he's going to say, okay, well, she must be tired. And then next thing you know, y'all fighting because he don't touch you no more. You fighting because he don't come up behind you no more. You know what I mean? You have to be intentional, you know what I mean? And then have fun with it.
So here at the Love Prep Academy, we cater to women, like I said, who desire marriage, who just are like they're praying for that love and it may not be happening. They're getting older, beginning to lose hope. And they just don't know why it's not happening. If she's listening, what do you have to say to her?
Listen, girl, listen. I know it is hard. I know that while you're waiting, you're getting impatient. But there's so much that you can learn in the waiting period. During that time, there's a lot that God may be trying to do in you, and then your significant other just may not be fully developed yet. You know, you don't want to rush something and then you get something and you rush into it, but then your marriage is only, I've seen so many marriages where It's, I want to get married. I want to get married. I got to get married. And then they rush into it. But then after a year, they're divorced. After 3 years, they're divorced. You know what I mean? Take your time, give it to God, pray, tell God what is it that you want, and tell God, listen, God, this is what I want. I want to be married. I want kids. I want a career. I want this. I want that. Once you tell him that, then your next step, and the most important step, is to let it go. Don't say, okay, I prayed about it. Now I'm going to go out here on my own and I'm going to start looking, or I'm going to start doing this. Work on yourself, because the very, very moment that you let go, the very moment that you stop even thinking about it, that's when God, he gonna walk past and you ain't even gonna see him. That's how much you're not even thinking about it anymore. You're just like, he gonna walk past, then he gonna circle back around, and he gonna come back, he gonna introduce himself. Then next y'all talking, but then you're like, I won't even looking. Then your story will be like, I won't even looking. You know what I mean? So just let God bring him to you. Let God bring him to you, and just be patient. Don't rush it. And God will make sure. God never fails, and he never breaks a promise. Yeah. So if he said he gonna do it, you could hold him to it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
Okay. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now tell the people how they can find you, follow you, and get in touch.
Okay. So I am on IG at Just Queening It podcast. I'm on TikTok at Team Tillman 7. So you can follow me, inbox me on either one of those platforms. I'm really good about responding, So yeah, hit me up on one of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you coming.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I love the conversation, the transparency. I appreciate that. And I know that someone else, single, engaged, just married 20 years, like, it's a journey to always learn more about yourself, learn more about your spouse, and learn more about, like, if I could go back, like, just take note. If I could go back, I would just consume myself with loving myself while I was alone, because when you get married, when the kids come in, it's just so much more. And so take advantage of that quiet time. Take advantage of that. And just because you're alone does not mean you're lonely.
Trust the process.
Yes.
Trust the process.
Like, enjoy. I've said this probably about 50 times. If y'all don't enjoy being in that bed by yourself, because I promise, when you got
when you got a knee right here and they right here.
But see, I get it. It's about perspective. Because when you're on the other side, you're going to be like, I should have listened to what they said on that podcast.
You're going to be like, I told you.
So, but my whole point is, enjoy where you are today.
Absolutely.
Embrace where you are today, because every moment in your journey is special, and God designed it that way. So I think if there was any piece of unsolicited advice, enjoy where you are today. It is special. It is a gift. It's not a curse. It is not a curse. And it's coming somewhere in South Carolina, North Carolina,
somewhere,
Texas, New York.
Beyond.
God He is stirring up things in your husband right now to bring him to you. So until you meet, enjoy where you are. So thank you so much for joining us today. As always, I love these conversations. It's therapy for me. So I hope it's helpful for you as well. And I hope that you can take something she said today and apply it to your life. Like right now, like, once you close your laptop, once you shut down your desktop, wherever you are, or close out your phone, I pray that something she said resonates with where you are today, and it can help get you to the next season of your life. So I appreciate you once again for joining us today. Thank you for your transparency and honesty. And thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Love Talk podcast. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and engage with me. Tell me your thoughts. What's on your mind? What do you need? What is going to help you get to that next step in your personal relationship or your relationship with your mate? So I'm here to support. I love this. I enjoy this. And I love these honest and authentic conversations. So I will see you next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
You sure though?
Me? D.
Yes. I have it right here.
You got it.
Yep, I got it. I had to put it in for a split second so you was ready.
I got you.
So that way I wouldn't be blowing in her breath.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate it.
Try to look out for my sister. You know what I mean? Gotta look
Come
out.
on. Ooh, yeah. So thanks for coming. Come on.
Stop, y'all. I'm just gonna
Okay.
shoot it. Come on now. Y'all playing.
Okay. I know. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, ladies. Shenique Luke here, your love preparation coach. So you asked, and now I'm answering. The Love Prep Academy is opening its doors for enrollment for our signature program. Are you ready for your happily ever after? Are you ready to have the life that you've been praying for? Are you sick and tired of wondering, when is it going to be my turn? Well, this program is for you. I'm here to send a call of action to my ladies who are tired of doing it their way and are truly ready to give it to God. So I'm challenging 25 women to become a part of our founding members program. This program consists of weekly coaching from yours truly, a dating assessment, a private Facebook community, and weekly challenges and homework to help you shift how you see dating and marriage to finally get the results you want. Now, the best thing about being a founding member, not only do you get to be a part of a life-changing program, but you get all access to all things Love Prep Academy from now until forever. That's right, we're locked in for life. So click the link below to find out more. I will see you on the other side.